Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the GeniusU Crypto Hour. Can I just please make sure that you can all hear me correctly?
Morning, Luca. Yes, could hear you loud and clear.
Hi, thank you very much, Archie. Okay, and let me just start the meet. At the moment, as I was just waiting for Duncan as well to come on the call. So at the moment, I'm doing both the monitoring of the room and talking. So excuse me if I can look a little bit distracted at times. But, as all men, I'm not the best at multitasking. So, okay, let me just do the meeting now, and we'll start with the news in a minute. So while we are waiting for people to come in, let me just do a small introduction again. So this is a room that happens every week, every Friday at 8 a.m. And the way it works is that I'll first of all I'll go through some items that have been in the news, in the crypto news in the past week, and I think it's important to examine and to understand. And then so this goes on generally for about 20 minutes, or depending on how, if you can stop me from jabbering on before that, and then we open the room up for a question and answer session. So it is mainly the room and the kind of the things that we talk about. It is mainly guided by you and where you are at this at this time as well in your crypto journey, as we all have different levels of experience and different levels of understanding of the space. So it's it's really important that you feel completely safe here to ask any questions that you like, whether it's a complete beginner question or it's quite advanced. I aim to to answer all the questions to the best of my abilities. Good morning, Duncan. Okay, let me just do some. Hi, Duncan. Can you hear us? Okay, you are muted, so we can't hear you.
Yeah, that's okay. You need to give people time to press the button,
I know. So let me just pass the host to you. I'll make you host. So I'll just
sure. Welcome everybody. Sorry for being so disruptive here on Friday afternoon.
Friday morning here, 8 o'clock. We've already been up and running for a while. I run my clubhouse room at 6 a.m. every morning. So up and running well before now. So let me start. Let me start getting into the news, and there are quite a few bits of news that it's worth discussing. And first of all, I would just want to say, as a frame, I just wanted you to understand how sorry, what am I hearing? I'm hearing some feedback. Is it coming from you or from? No, it's probably from some of you. Okay. I just wanted to frame where we are in this kind of investment. Okay. So we are looking at a technology that is being adopted at the fastest rate than any other technology have been in the past. That including the PC, that includes the internet, and includes the smartphone. Okay, so all things that were moving very quickly are being very adopted very quickly. Then this is kind of like nothing like this has been seen before, and we're growing at a rate over 130% a year. So we are more than doubling the number of users every year, And we're now at 150 million users roughly, and will quickly grow to 1 billion more in the next 2 to 3 years. And depending on the development, this can actually happen more rapidly than that. And what I wanted to start the conversation today is with the announcement that NDYG and NCR, which are a custody provider and a point of sale payment provider, have joined together to offer crypto purchases and custody to over 650 community banks in the US. So that will immediately pave the way for over 24 million users of these banks to buy and custody Bitcoin through their bank, so using their bank account. So no onboarding to cryptocurrency exchange, transferring money left, right, and center. This makes it easy. So it takes away one of the barriers to entry for many people that are not technologically minded. They can just now go to the building society, like we got here in the UK, to the bank, and buy their cryptos directly from there. So it is important to understand. It's important to understand the steps that need to be in place for this to be possible, because a building society or bank or a small cooperative bank doesn't really want to get involved with the complexity and the authorization of custody Bitcoins directly by themselves. So they need a provider to do that for them. And the same way for many investment funds. So this is where NDYG comes in, which is a big provider, and they can do that on behalf of the bank for their customers. And where NCR instead come into place, they are a big provider of point of sale solution. So those are the kind of people that service the terminals that are in your local restaurant, takeaway or anything where you go and tap your card to pay for your meal. That making now crypto payments possible at the point of sale. So that you might soon change, how would you like to pay, sir? Cash or card. Soon will be, how would you like to pay, sir? Cash, card, or crypto? And this is the kind of innovation that would spread the understanding of the space a lot wider, because it makes it more real. When you see at your local restaurant, you can tap your phone and pay with your Bitcoins that you have in your wallet or any other cryptocurrency that is supported, and pay for your restaurant, for your coffee, for your takeaway. It becomes more easy to understand for everybody. It's not just something that people are talking about and we don't know if it's a scam or not, or if it's going to collapse or not. And this is making it more real, and it could potentially add over 20 million new users to the say mainly Bitcoin, because this is what is going to be supported to begin with, to the cryptocurrency industry as a whole later on. So at least is eliminating the barriers to entry, and which is very important. From a different point of view, and from the point of view of the people that ask, that are worried about the national governments and regulatory bodies trying to slow down and regulate the cryptocurrency industry. Another bit of news that I wanted to mention is SoftBank. SoftBank, that Roger often talks about SoftBank and their approach to investment. And this is a huge Japanese investment vehicle that is now just announced they're supporting with an investment of $200 million, one of the largest cryptocurrency exchanges in Brazil. Okay, and again, these are why am I mentioning this? Because it's not a huge amount. 200 million for them, for them is kind of small change. but again, for this decision to be taken at an investment fund level, it means that there is genuine adoption of this as an asset class, and also that extensive research has been done, because first of all, in the asset class in the first place, and then with the players in this environment, and they're not just investing in Bitcoin like MicroStrategy is doing, for example, but they are investing in providers that are representing the access point between users and the cryptocurrency world. In this case, they're investing really in the potential of the Brazilian market and the South American solution that cryptocurrency represents. As we have seen with the adoption of um, Bitcoin as legal tender in El Salvador, and there are several other countries in South America that are considering this. With the closest to adopting it as cryptocurrency, as a legal tender now, apart from El Salvador, is Panama, probably Panama and Paraguay. And it's interesting to see that now, even on CoinMarketCap, now they have launched a listing of all the countries that accept Bitcoin as legal tender. At the moment, there's only El Salvador on there, but you can vote on the country that you think is more likely to be to follow their example. So this is that's a second bit of news I want to talk about. Then another really big news that regards Germany in this case. And Germany has passed a law that allows some special investment funds to have exposures to cryptocurrencies up to 20% of the funds under management. Now, as the funds under management that we're talking about are over $2 trillion, we are talking of potentially allowing from German investment firms an investment of 400 billion in the cryptocurrency industry. Now, obviously, this is the maximum potential, so there will be a function of this. But it is big news for both, because Germany is very forward-looking in their attitude to cryptocurrencies, but also they're a leader in the European Union. So it is likely that their example will be followed by other countries within the European Union. So this could open the floodgates to institutional investing in mainly in the big boys of cryptocurrency. So we are talking mainly Bitcoin and Ethereum, but also other cryptos in the top 10 like Cardano, Chainlink, and so on. So again, these are all steps that are being put in place. It will take a little while for them to reflect in the market, because, for example, that announcement about the US, making available to banks is subject to NDYG developing an app for the bank's customers. So these are things that will take a few months to come to fruition. But it is a kind of, I see, almost like as a ladder. Things don't happen from one day to the next. And to go from 100 million users to 1 billion users, there's a lot of infrastructure that needs to be put in place. So don't expect that to read something in the news and the price to move tomorrow. But it is saying a lot, because these are long-term investments. So if there are these long-term investments, there is obviously demand there, and these are commercial companies that are taking these decisions. So they are obviously expecting to make a profit from their involvement. So it is what I try to see every week from the news is not so much read verbatim what is being said, but it's almost like what it implies, reading between the lines, And what it is saying to me, and what I see every week, is more and more infrastructure bricks are being put in place to build this ecosystem. When I started talking to people in January, this was almost like a hush hush. Nobody was talking about it. Nobody was talking about big investment firms taking positions in cryptocurrency. It was really, you had to dig really deep to find out any news about hedge funds and private investment firms that were putting like maybe 5 or 10 million in this industry. Now we're talking on kind of a multi-billion positions and investments from you can pick one of the main banks in the US, one of the largest banks in the world, and go and Google their name and crypto, and you'll see how now they are trying to position themselves as a provider of investment advice and services for people wanting to engage. And as we said before last week as well, this is important. When we listen to the American politicians talking and supporting Bitcoin, it means that there is ground support for them, and people that they represent want to hear this, because American politicians don't talk about their opinion. They everything they say is really worked out beforehand, according to opinion polls and market research. So everything they say is really focused on their electorate. Okay, so they're talking about crypto is because people are interested in crypto. The mayor of Miami trying to talk about and say, as Miami will become the center of crypto in the US. Now the front runner as mayor of New York is saying the same thing. They want to make New York as a as a center or center of excellence for crypto firms. So it's basically understand the underlying current here more than a single news item. Is that we are looking at? The last bit of information I wanted to discuss with you this morning is a practical application of blockchain and NFT technology in the real world. This comes from my country of birth, from Italy, and from the little city-state that is San Marino. You might have heard in the news that San Marino, with a collaboration with VeChain, are bringing COVID test certification to the blockchain. So now we'll be by issuing NFTs in the VeChain blockchain, and people will be able to have a portable certificate represented by an NFT that will give them access to their medical records that are concerned with just with COVID related. So you'll be able to prove when they had the first and second jab, what kind of vaccine they had, if they have tested, they have taken any COVID tests, for example, if they tested positive or negative. And they will be able to, this certificate is kind of like, it's going to be an e-certificate that is going to be valid for 9 months for the day that you're taking your second test. And you can use it wherever you need to prove your COVID status. And the way that they are doing is by basically having a couple of what they call hash codes on your phone, so you can QR codes. So in the same way that you can carry a digital version of your plane ticket and show it at the airport, you'll be able to do that, and the authority will be able to scan the QR code on your phone, and to see that you are vaccinated. You can get access to whatever you're trying to get access to. So this is I just wanted to finish with this, because we're talking we're always talking about things that are possible, things that may happen, or the way that the market is developing. But this is technology that is being used today, and VeChain is a very interesting blockchain, because they're quite unique. They have they deal mainly with supply chain management. So they're a business blockchain, and they help businesses get use of this technology and develop the systems to deploy on the blockchain. So they have got quite a strong monopoly in their sector, in the crypto sector, and they've obviously they have a very strong say market advantage over competitors. and they're doing some very interesting. They're getting linked in some very interesting projects. So it's this is just to again to make you understand, for them to be able to do these things, they had to develop the system on the back office to be able to access the San Marino health system, and then have a way that is connected to everybody's identity, to be able to prove that this particular person has taken that particular test. And this is just the first application of that technology to this problem. And from I can see that as this is developing, and especially as the EU is going towards this vaccination passport, these kind of solutions are going to be required by more and more authorities. So this is a test case, like the El Salvador case is a test case of Bitcoin, and we'll see. We're seeing more and more real life uses for this technology being coming to the fore now, because as I was saying before, we're still developing the infrastructure, and like that still Cardano, Polkadot, Ethereum are coming out with big innovations now in the summer. And now you will see in the next few months a lot of work in the space of new apps, new infrastructure that is making your interaction with blockchain more intuitive, easier to understand, and as simple as using an app on your phone. Okay, so what you will soon see is that you won't hear a lot of talk about blockchain, but it would be because it will become the underlying, under the hood technology that is powering the apps that you interact with. So from your point of view, probably nothing will change. You're still interacting with an app on your phone, but the technology underlying is going to be completely different. Okay, so it would be more decentralized, and it would make you deal directly from the users to the provider without using any intermediaries. And that's the biggest change is coming from the blockchain world. If you think about it, just in the financial system is been there has been studies that say that about at least 6% of the financial volume is going into kind of intermediary fees. Okay, and talk about it. We're talking about here in the hundreds of trillions every year. We're talking about financial interactions in the world. You think about 6% of that could go and be re-employed in a productive way instead of a non-productive way, like it was to give it to an intermediary. It will make a huge difference to the world in general. So that's the final word that I wanted to talk about this morning, and I've kept pretty much to the 23 minutes. So and been kept to below 25, which is what I was aiming for. So shall we now open the room up to questions? Sorry, Sue Jackson was asking about talking about yes, sorry, Sue, I don't know if you caught it late. We're talking about San Marino has adopted VeChain as a provider of the COVID vaccine certification. So if you're in San Marino, you're taking your jabs, instead of having a paper card like we got here in the UK, you can have a certificate on your phone that you can use for for everything that you need to do with this certificate. And not so much here in the UK. I mean, we still don't know what's going to happen with a passport or not. But in Europe, they're going ahead with the vaccine passports, and this is going to be one of the way that makes it easier for people that can carry around with them rather than having a piece of paper in the wallet, and easier for the providers that need this proof to verify this on the blockchain. Okay, Sue Jackson, how would you invest in VeChain? Yes, they have a coin. It's VET, VET, and it's one of the big projects. It's one of the top 20.
We're a bit low on questions here today, guys, aren't we? Everybody's a bit silent. So maybe nothing happened last week. I don't know. A lot seemed to happen for me. So we do have a question from Vicky. You can see that, can you, Luca? Would you recommend investing in tokens with a focus on blockchain for long-term investment on the basis that blockchain is used for the secure sharing of documents and information? I think
Yes.
I know what that's right, Luca?
Yes, Vicky. I mean, all of my investment is in this is investing in strong projects for the long term. So I'm investing. My attitude is that I'm investing in technology. So I'm not really looking at short-term gains, but I am looking at long-term. So first of all, the first thing I do when I'm investing is that I want to make sure that the projects that I am looking at are still going to be there, at least 1, 2, 3, 5 years down the line. Now, some projects are more speculative. The smaller projects are more risky, and then for those I'm looking at maybe like a 12 months time frame. But all the large projects are I would say 24 to 60 months time frame. So this is what I'm looking at, and I'm looking here. We're looking at infrastructure, guys. Okay, so think about being able to invest, at the birth of the World Wide Web. If there was a way that you could have invested in the internet, or the ways that we have interacted with it is maybe we've seen the growth of Microsoft, of Google, of Facebook, of Amazon. Now, wouldn't you like to be at the time where these companies were being formed with the knowledge you have now? And I think this is where we are now. I mean, this is new technology that is going to dominate the infrastructure, the way that we interact with providers. So I am investing not so much in a single, for example, NFT project, but I am investing in the NFT ecosystem. I'm not investing in maybe something that can grow in the next 2 weeks, but I'm investing in something that I know will grow in the next 2 years. So that's my attitude to investment. Okay, and yes, secure sharing of documentation, information. There are lots of ways that the blockchain is bringing value to these markets. And think about it. The biggest companies at the moment. What are they into? Are they into in information, in storage? Because Amazon, Microsoft, Google, they're all into a cloud storage solution, and they got their businesses in the is really huge in that market. So, but wouldn't you like to have control of your own information, your own data, rather than giving it in the hands of Google or Facebook and even just think about it. Everything where you use your data, companies are using and selling it to make money, because there are markets where it's very difficult now to make money because you can do things directly now. But people are selling your data. So if you knew that you are giving hundreds of dollars to Google, or if you use a Robinhood, for example, for your trading, you are paying them for a service. Now, if you could do that in a way where the money stays in your pocket and it's just as easy, would you do it or not? That's the question. That's the question to ask yourself. And where before it wasn't possible to do, now it is. So it is. There is an option to do things different in a decentralized way. At the moment, it's still clunky. It's not as easy to access, but we are getting there. We're still a tiny market compared to the possibility of what it could replace. Even if you just look at gold, for example, a Bitcoin there is less than 1 trillion at the moment, and gold is about 8 trillion. So easily Bitcoin could replace gold as a store of value. And so just think about it. Where are we now? Where could we be if that really was to happen? And this is just one use case. This is why you hear people talking about, a Bitcoin, a single Bitcoin could be worth $500,000, could be worth 10 million. And it's because simply of you're trying to price in today's money the use case of Bitcoin in 2 years, 5 years down the line, and it's difficult you can't really judge it on really so much on past performance, because it's really more on what it could do, where this technology could be applied, that we that we are looking at for growth. So it's a different way of measuring this asset class from traditional investments like property or shares, stocks and shares. So, okay, Duncan.
So we've got a really naughty question here from Sue, but you might want to talk about it. Well, have you got any tips, Luca? No, we don't do tips on this call.
No, we don't.
But
we don't
having
do
said
investment.
that, Eric would like to know what you know about Syscoin and Theta. So you might be able to, squeeze some tips in there.
I can have a look at Syscoin. I don't know. It's not one of those that they have examined yet. Let's have a look. I can have a look at it on just as I am talking to you. Its rank is 342, so it's market cap of 65 million. I don't fast low cost tokens, assets, and fractional NFTs. Okay, so I don't. I mean, I will need to look at them to see what the unique selling point is, because there are lots of other players in this market. So are they doing something? I mean, when you're looking at a project, you got to think about what are they doing that is different from what's already on the market, and what innovation, what they are bringing as an innovation. So that's what I would ask myself first when looking at any. I mean, not this one in particular, but any coin that you are looking at. They have gone down. They have gone down the same as the rest of the market by about 55% in the past month or so. So I don't really know this one. I will need to look at it more in depth. But it comes from, it was created in July last year, and has a similar movement to many other coins, where it started growing in end of January, beginning of February, and now it exploded then in April, and then came down like most of the other coins. But as for Theta, instead, is a much bigger project, and it's one. I am learning, looking at projects as well, looking at the people and they are supporting it and they are involved in the project. And here we are looking with Theta. It's in the video storage and delivery market. So it is going against the YouTube, the Netflix of this world. And again, okay, if you do something like this, who have they got behind it? Or are they just dreaming, or have they got some strength behind them? And we are talking about the founder of YouTube that's involved in this project. So that's a plus, that's the tick. We're talking about Sony that is supporting the project, that's another tick. And we're talking about a huge market, which is the video market again. So this is talking about decentralized delivery of videos. And also they are a layer one solution, so they have also smart contracts, and they started releasing NFTs as well. So they are a big project, and the two tokens that are connected to it are Theta and T-Fuel. T-Fuel is what you need to spend to interact with the market, the same way that you spend ETH when you need to do anything on the Ethereum network. The providers will have to use some T-Fuel to interact with with the Theta ecosystem. So that's a very big project and very well backed. Okay. So it's again, you know, a lot of projects at the moment are in a really cheap price, because they've gone back with the market going down 50%. We've gone back often to kind of like February's levels, you know, and so it is. I mean, do your own due diligence and have a look if you like where the market is right now. But you could look at every single project, and I would say everything at the moment is on sale. What I would describe it is, if you look at you know, Theta has not gone down as much as other projects, because they released innovation just fairly recent, so there's been lots of interest around this project. But again, we're looking at you know, a very good discount, because they went up to you know, to $14, where they were in April, and now they're back down to 6. You know, so it's you know, it's one of the projects that would be worth looking at, and then you can make your own decision if you want to, you know, invest in it or not. But definitely good project at a decent price right now.
Got a few questions in, Luca. Any would like to talk about NFTs in terms of investing in digital art? Alan would like to know if you feel we're still in a bull market. Well, you and I were chatting about this briefly, so I know you've got a few things to say about that. And then we can come to some of the questions.
Yes, okay. Where shall we start from then? From the NFTs. That was the first question, with the NFTs. Okay, so what was the question exactly?
The question was around Roger talking about investing in digital art. So I've assumed the question's about NFTs. Can you suggest, or can anyone suggest, where to get information about such opportunities? That was what the question was, really.
Well, the NFT is it's. I must say, first of all, this is not an expertise of mine. Okay, I don't know. I never invested in collectibles before, so I'm not the best person to give you advice on investing in collectibles or digital art. I find it a little bit difficult to value as an investment. If we're talking about to value NFTs, because there are still so many unanswered questions. Okay, on the actual item that you are buying. And for example, if you're buying an NFT on Ethereum, what is stopping the provider from putting the same NFTs on other blockchains, on Tron or Cardano, and having, you know, the Ethereum version, Cardano version, the Tron version, the EOS version. So, you know, from a legal point of view, there are some questions that are still unanswered, and this is why one of my I've been quite cagey on the NFT, investing in NFTs directly. Having said that, as a use case, NFT would probably be the way that the new users, going from 100 million to the billion users, this is the way that most new users will interact with the blockchain, through NFTs. I'm just giving you the example, for example, of San Marino. You know, that is obviously it's not a marketable NFT. It's a utility NFT. But these people will have an NFT on their phone. So even without knowing it, they're interacting with the blockchain. Okay, it's a use case. And in the same way, there is a lot of the new users of the blockchain will come from the gaming industry, because, you know, it's easily understandable for people that are in gaming. They've been using in-game items already. So obviously, if you have children, they are playing, you know, whatever game is most used at the moment. You will know about. They want to buy this weapon or that weapon or that item or this item that will give them some special functions in the game that they are playing, whether it's Fortnite or Call of Duty or a strategy game, whatever it is. It doesn't really matter. But they will have asked you for money to buy these things. That's the one thing that is guaranteed if you have teenage children. You know, the demand for money never stops. So the understanding that something that was just connected to a game is now your property, and you can then sell it on to other users of the game. Or there are certain items now that can be transferred between games, so you can take them with you from one game to another. It's something that would bring a lot of users now to the blockchain world. So as personally, more than investing in single work of art or NFTs in that way, I am investing in NFT platforms. So platforms that allow people to mint their own NFTs, to as a marketplace for NFTs, and they offer the service to the people that are in the industry. Okay, so for example, Tezos is one of these blockchains that supports NFTs. Engine is another one, and you can look it up. As again, you can look it up on CoinGecko. If you go onto where do you see it? Categories. If you go on coins and the categories, then one of the classification you can see NFTs, and you can see the whole number of projects there are in the NFT ecosystem. Okay, and so on. Actually, they have got talk about this. They're now separating. It's actually they got an NFT tab, so you can have a look on under the NFT tab, and you can see like Beta Network, Tezos, Chili's, Engine Coin, Decentraland, Flow, Ecomi. These are all projects in the NFT. It's a micro sector within blockchain, and so you can now go and examine all the different providers, and as you can see, there are there are big networks like Theta and Tezos and Chili's are over $1 billion size, but they're also game providers. Like if you go down the list, then you can see Alien Worlds, My Neighbor Alice, Gala Games, Atari. Everybody who knows about my age, who hasn't played with Atari games. So have a look at them if you want to get engaged with the NFT ecosystem, and start studying this project and see which ones you want to interact with. Now, this is my way. As in digital art itself, I say just go and ask somebody else, please, because I really don't have a clue. Don't have a clue about how to value digital art from an investment point of view. But obviously, it's Sotheby's and Christie's are getting in on the game. Obviously, there is a lot of potential there if you know what you're doing.
They're the biggest, aren't they?
Sorry?
They're the biggest scammers in the world of art, Sotheby's and Christie's. I wouldn't
right.
But I'll definitely take your point. I've been having a little look around actually, and I noticed that there's quite a lot of well-known retail art dealers. Chris Bellini is one that springs to mind. There are a couple of others, and because I've actually looked on their websites before buying gifts and things, and they've got my email address, all of a sudden they're starting to email me saying that they're releasing their own NFTs. So I think if you're interested and you want to have a look around, you're not going to find it hard to find opportunities. But having said that, I know you didn't ask me, you asked Luca, and I'm definitely not telling you they're good opportunities. I'm just telling you what I've seen in my email inbox. Something that I think, sorry?
I would say it's a similar question when you're looking at when you're looking at a new project, for example, ICO. Okay, so you can have a look. Okay, this coin is going to be released on whatever in a week's time. What is the price of that coin? And everybody obviously will try to convince you it's a bargain. Okay, but the price of the coin, the value is given to it by the founders. Okay, and they've got a bias. Obviously, if they say their project X is worth $1 per coin, this is the value that they put in on the project. It's not a market value. The market will settle on what they think the fair value is for that particular project, in the same way for the NFT. So who gives the original price to the NFT is either the creator or the auction house in the case of Sotheby's. Now, you buy something at a certain price, And obviously, it doesn't have to be, 69 million for the vehicle thing. It can be, you might spend $500 on something. Now, it's fine. You pay a certain price. What will the value be in a week's time, in 1 month's time, in 1 year's time? Will it be more valuable than it is now? That is the question that I don't know. I don't know how to answer because there isn't any. You can look at similar things. Maybe again, how you value these things. You look at, that particular artist. What has he already produced, and how is he doing in the market? And that can give you an idea. But an NFT as such, you can create an NFT. An NFT can be a picture taken with your phone, and you can mint an NFT simply by, it's as simple as uploading file on one of these platforms like Mintable, and then writing onto the blockchain. It's as simple as that. It takes 2 minutes to create an NFT, so you can create your own. Will it be worth anything? Probably not. Probably not. So this one thing is the NFT, and everybody thinks that just by buying NFTs you can make money. That's not true. It's just like any other rare object, or it depends on the how desirable it is. So it can be worth something, it can be worth nothing, and that's a kind of like, as I say, it's something that you've got to consider yourself when engaging with these things. When people tell you this is worth this much, the first question you should ask is, how do you come to that valuation? Okay, that's the first question, and then judge. Okay, is their judgment, their thought process, does it make sense, or are they talking rubbish? Or is it just like a I don't know, a real estate salesman trying to flog you something, whatever for whatever they can get. So that's my little bit of advice
the thing is,
for you.
Just to sort of come back to that point about art, I mean, art itself is the most incredibly flexibly priced product known to man anyway. If you've ever spent any time, if you've ever been to any launches in galleries or anything like that, and hung around the people who do the dealings of art, which I have a little bit, you will find that the art dealer will stand next to the biggest painting in the gallery. And when I walk up to him and say, what do you think it'll fetch? And he'll say, well, you could have it for 50 grand. And then somebody else with a much bigger watch than mine walks up and says, how much is this painting? And he says, well, it's about 150 grand, mate. You know straight away that, frankly, the prices are down to how much somebody's prepared to pay for things. And I think when you mix that in with technology that we don't really understand, the chances of getting your fingers burnt are just so incredibly high. That's my kind of amateur outlook on it. What do you think, Luca? That's where I would always have a problem.
And the only way for me to look at it is just looking at the artist or the project, artist, project, and community. So those are the usual thing. Something may be valued, for example, because there is a huge community. Like, for example, you're talking about Fortnite with hundreds of millions of players, and then you can see that if you buy a certain item, you can see what that item is being exchanged for, because it's got a market. Talking about unique artwork and unique pieces of art, is there a history somewhere that you can use as a point of reference? That's what I would look at. So again, if he's an artist that has had works of art sold before, and then maybe have sold again in the secondary market, have a look at the history that he's had with previous projects, and generally, or if it is part of a particular collection, the other items in that collection, how are they faring in the secondary market?
Okay, I'm going to have to butt in, Luca, because we're going well off the subject of cryptos. We're talking about art only, and I know I started it about hanging around in galleries, acting posh. Can we move on to the question? Because I'm itching to know the answer to this, and I bet everybody really wants to know your opinion on this. Alan asks if you're analysing market movements. I can answer that for you. Yes, I know you are. What we really want to know is, are we still in a bull market? Are we re-entering another bull market? Or are we going to end up in a bear market pretty soon? What do you think about that?
Okay, and the way, again, I would say when I'm not sure about something, at the moment, the market is in that phase where it's just going sideways. So it could go either way. So if you're looking at it I tend to zoom out and look at it from a distance. So the one thing I'm reading in the news every day is about, more players coming into this market and talking about every single level. So from the small guys like me and you, just getting, so the number of users going up every day with thousands and thousands of new wallets and addresses being created every day. From the point of view of big boys, so investment firms and investment funds and banks and everybody else moving in up to whole countries like El Salvador moving into the space, this movement is actually accelerating in pace. Okay, it's not slowing down at all. And the fact that Bitcoin has gone down from 65 to 30,000 hasn't changed the adoption rate at all whatsoever. Okay, and there are actually more players into this market now than there were at the top of the market. And so what I'm looking at is definitely I want to be in this space now for the foreseeable future. Okay, what the price is going to do in the short term, in the next months or 2 months or 3 months, that I can take an educated guess. I can see that a bottom has been forming. So there is a good probability that the market will start moving upwards again, especially as now we have gone by the second quarter and the half yearly stage. So every 3 months, roughly, when you think about it from big institutions that are in this market, they have to rebalance their portfolio. So at the end of June, this is what would have happened, and they have, they would have closed their position, and then now they would be reopening their positions. Okay, so we are forming a base now around the $30,000 level, where we have seen that there is high demand. Okay, could we go down and breach it again? Yes, of course we could. So we don't know. At the moment, I would say we are still in the bull market territory. It still hasn't been invalidated, and we have seen that we've gone as far as the 29,000 level, and normally before the market starts growing rapidly, there is always another test. So there will be another drop. It's almost guaranteed, to the 30,000 and maybe lower than that. And this market tends to do the opposite of what people expect. So when people expected to, last year to be disappearing and Bitcoin was ground into, $3,000 level or something like this, that's when they started growing really, really rapidly. Now, when people expect it to go up, will it go back down to 20,000? Yes, it could. It could, or we could see a continuation of the bull market. I mean, I tend for the continuation of the bull market. I'm kind of like a leaning that way. But I am ready for everything that can happen. So it could be like a good idea at the moment to keep part of your crypto investment in stablecoin to be ready for a capitulation event. Okay, so if Bitcoin was to go down to 20,000 or even lower, some people are talking about, that will mean it will give people a life-changing opportunity to buy. Okay, so it is good to have something in reserve for those occasions. Okay, but in any case, I am long-term invested in this technology. And again, if you got your fundamentals right, you shouldn't worry, because if you invested money that you don't need, then you can afford to lose. And you're investing in a long-term, in your long-term future, long-term projects, then I don't think you can go wrong. And so for me, from my point of view, if Bitcoin was to go back to $10,000 and so on, it would take with it a lot of the crypto market with it. I'm still invested. I'm not getting out of any time soon, because trying to time the market and trying to buy at the bottom and sell at the top is very, very difficult in this arena. So I'm investing for the long term, and as I said, my fundamentals are strong in the sense that I've invested what I can afford to invest, and I'm not worried about kind of like really price movement for if it was to decline on the short term, because I'm looking at gains. And talking about here, we're talking about risk and reward. Okay, so if we're talking about the risk being 1, okay, I expect a reward to be 5 times or more. Okay, so from that point of view, I'm risking 1 to gain 5, 10, 20. Okay, so I am not worried about risking that 1, because well, the potential is much higher. Okay.
Got a question, Luca. Okay, Sue wants to know what you mean specifically by capitulation. I'm assuming you mean the standard definition of capitulation, which is a reversal. But maybe you could really quickly answer that, because we haven't got a lot of time. There's another question, and it's a question that you've answered many, many times, Luca. So it's going to be only informative probably to the person who's asked it, if everybody's been on a call before. But it's an important one. But could you cover it really, really quickly?
Sorry, what question was that?
Vicky's buying through Revolut, and should she consider moving to an exchange, a different exchange, or a secure wallet? Just a minute on that.
Okay, just very quickly, from the point of view of Revolut, it depends very much on what you want to do with your crypto. So if you have bought what you need and you just want to keep it, Revolut is a bank, so they are protected. I believe, I mean, I'm not quite sure, if your crypto funds are protected, but it is a bank, so you should have protection for the first £85,000 of the money deposited in Revolut. So if all you want to do is keep the cryptos, then I would keep it in Revolut. If you want to trade them for something else, then obviously you need an exchange for that. But from the point of view of security, if you're just going to keep them there, they're perfectly safe. Maybe it doesn't give you as many options. I mean, I don't know. I don't use Revolut myself, so I don't know if they give you options to stake, to get an interest on your deposit or not. But from the point of view of safety, it's is as safe as it can be. Okay. The other thing, the capitulation event, is when you kind of like you dive for the safety boat, really. And we've seen in 2017, and we're seeing it again, like something that happened in May, where we go in a very short space of time, we go from 60,000 to 30,000. That's a kind of a capitulation event. And what we could see now, if we were to breach that $28,000 level, we could go all the way down to 20,000 and below. So this is what I consider a capitulation event. Like very rapid movement on the way down. There is accelerated through the stop loss orders from traders that are leveraged in the market. And so are they positioned, get liquidated, the market keeps getting more and more and more sell orders. So that's a panic, what we describe as a fear and panic, as opposed to, on the other side, we've got the euphoria phase. And generally, it's kind of like it's investing sometimes is counterintuitive. Like you buy fear and you sell greed. Okay, and this is kind of my attitude as well. If the market really tanks, this is a really good time to buy. And if the market starts really going to the stars, it's you have to start thinking about selling. So that's what I was talking about. Okay. Any other questions?
So if we do have any final questions, please do either drop them in the chat or speak up now, or forever hold your peace. We do have a minute or so left if there's anything. I do always like to say, for anybody who's new to this call, who hasn't been here before, hasn't met Luca, please do join Luca's community on GeniusU. I'm going to drop the link into the chat for you. And you can find out, the calls are always at the same time every week, but they're all listed in the events page. I think, Luca, you've got have you got a micro degree in there now? Maybe not quite that yet, but
not yet. No.
You've got information about your products that are available and things like that. So I'll just drop the link in 1 second. I normally have it. I'm just getting it up now. I'll drop that into the chat so that anybody who's new can join that. I also just want to take a second to tell you that Luca will fill you in a little bit more, but I want to make sure that you know that Luca is running a crypto and blockchain masterclass for our Educator Festival. Is that on the 6th, Luca? Have I got that right?
It is, yes, it is on the 6th of July.
So please look out for that. I am popping the festival map all over the place at the moment. You'll be able to click through from that and register for the masterclass. But I'm sure that's going to be an absolutely fantastic event. 2 hours of Luca's time.
Do you have the link? Do you have the link to that, Duncan? By the way, it's a free event, so you can register if you want. And I will be talking. I will be talking about. It will be a blockchain and cryptocurrency masterclass. So I will be talking about. It's kind of like an education, couple of hours, talking about how all the different aspects of blockchain work. From how it was created, the background, how it is, explaining what a proof of work and proof of stakes are, and how everything works. Different classes of cryptocurrencies they are around, and what do they do? What's the level 1, level 2, and level 3 cryptocurrency projects, and where we go from now. And then we look at a few use cases, look at a few projects, and again, and what and how they are bringing utility to the real world. So applications in the real world of blockchain technology. So it'd be kind of like an interesting couple of hours to, if you are new to the blockchain, that will give you a really good grounding, a really good understanding of the whole space. And if you're not, you might learn a thing or two that you didn't know, because I'll be able to. I'll have the time to go into things a lot deeper than I am on this call. The other thing was, if anybody would like to go to the Education Festival, it's happening next week on the 8th and 9th. I do have some discounted tickets available to my community, and if you want to have tickets, I can make them available to you for $15. I know that at the moment they are way more than that, but if you I've just dropped my I'll write it again, my email address. So just send me an email and we can get you registered if you want to go on. Is it the 8th and 9th, isn't it, the Education Festival? And there are some really great speakers, apart from Roger, being Seth Godin, being the one I'm really looking forward to, and Stephen Covey as well. So it's really worthwhile event, I think, for you to attend. So if you don't have your tickets yet, which I believe at the moment are $97, Duncan? Are they?
They are currently. Today is the last day that you can obtain the early bird tickets. So yeah, they're $97. I think they're going to go up at midnight tonight. So it's worth getting in touch with Luca if you do want tickets, of course. Always better to go through a partner. I've put the link for Luca's specifically Luca's event, the Crypto and Blockchain Masterclass right there. You'll see it. And then above that, you'll see there's a PDF, which is the program guide, the guide for the entire festival. And you can click through to various events there. Eric has asked if there will be a recording, and if so, where I can see it. Eric, I want to tell you and everybody else on the call now, if you ever want a recording of a call, then you should look in the library of the circle that call relates to. So for example, I gave you the link for Luca's community, his circle, that's called Crypto Investor Club. If you want to find any recordings of Luca's calls, you'll find them in the library of that circle. And that applies for all circles and all calls. Recordings are in libraries. So if you go into the library, if the recording is available, it will be in there. If it's not in there, then there isn't a recording. And I'm giving you that information because it's a question that comes up all the time, and it applies to all circles, all communities, and all calls. You find them in the library. And this is the bit of information, all you need to know about circles. Events are in the events pages, degrees are in the degrees pages, and documents and recordings are in the library pages. And you can always find them there. And it certainly will be recorded, Eric. It's a shame you can't make it live, but we will have the recording.
Yeah, and it also for these calls that we're doing on a Friday, I am posting them on the discussion page as well, so you can see them directly from the circle. And it is the circle is the Crypto Investor Club. For those of you that know, I mean, I think most of you are members already.
Yeah, I've dropped the link in just there. 1550. You can see the link in the chat if you want to click.
Okay.
Right, I think people have got to go off on the call now. There is another important call about to start, the challenge. So I think we need to click off. Thank you, as ever, to Luca for all of his valuable time, and thank you to all of you for joining us, especially the new guys and the people who come regularly. Lovely to see you, and we'll see you here next week, next Friday. Don't forget to join Luca's community and check out his products and programs, and we'll see you on the masterclass.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for coming.